Hi, this is Jared Polak, founder of Entre Results, author of Entre Business, author of Entre Balance, founder of Entre Results Academy, back for another awesome podcast. The title today is Business is Like a Marathon. Now, I am preparing and training to run a marathon, or probably 2 marathons here in the next 6 months. And so I've been thinking a lot about marathons, and I know with business, there's a lot of analogies with sports, and so I'm going to go with the analogy of running a marathon as it relates to business. And on this specific podcast, it's going to be about the preparation to run a marathon. So it's not going to be about actually the marathon itself. It's about preparation and training to run a marathon as it relates to business. In the small business community, there are so many similarities or examples that can come from running that relate to business. Okay, so I'm going to look at 8 different things in regards to that connection. Number 1 is there needs to be a running plan. In order to finish 26.2 miles, there has to be a plan, a preparation plan in terms of how to get there. And so what I've been using is several different running plans I've looked at, and it breaks it down into 4 days a week. This is what you run. This is how it looks. And sometimes you have 8-week plan, 12-week plans, 18-week plans, 24-week plans, etc. for preparing. So for business, we need to have a plan for business as well, right? Number 2 is there's obstacles constantly along the way that try to gear us away from the plan. It could be like the humidity and the heat in Houston. It's going to be 100 degrees plus. So that's an obstacle. It could be, one time recently I started to run. I got into the first mile and it started to lightning all around me. So I had to run back home. And so there's obstacles that happen in business all the time. External forces that affect us. It could be the economy, etc. Now, the third thing, which kind of relates a little bit to number 2, but, personal injury, like injuring yourself. So when you're running a marathon, one of the worst things that can happen is you hurt yourself or you injure your leg and it pushes you back. Well, certainly the same thing can happen in business. I think the analogy here is that, as a business team, we have a bunch of people on our team. Well, sometimes someone's out. Sometimes someone gets sick. Well, if you lose a team member full-time or temporarily, it really affects the goal that you had, the original plan that you had. So that leads us into number 4, is sometimes we need to adjust our plans. So it's good to have a plan, but sometimes we need to adjust our plans. Maybe if we lose a team member, someone else needs to pick up the slack. If we get injured, sometimes we maybe need to shorten our mileage up a little bit or decrease it to a certain degree or do some different activities. And so number 4, as it relates to business, is sometimes we have to have a plan, but sometimes we need to adjust the plan. Number 5 is long days. Now, in running and training for a marathon, you have to plan to run long distances. So 1 day a week, you have your long day where you're running 12 miles or 14 or 18 or 20 as you prepare and lead up to the marathon. Well, in business, sometimes there's just going to be long days where we have to do it. It's just going to be, it is what it is. And that's the reality of life for business. Number 6, and this is true for running the marathon, there's got to be accountability along the way. There's personal accountability. Am I doing what I said I'm going to do for myself? There's external accountability. It's great to run with a group or to run with a team to help increase the likelihood of following the plan. That's number 6, accountability. Number 7, and this is probably one of the most difficult things to think about with running and in business. And it's that understanding of when do you push hard? When do you grind it through? When do you just have grit and move forward? Versus when do you have days of rest? When do you take time off? Because physically, when you're training for a marathon, the days of rest are super important because your body regenerates. It gets stronger, actually more during rest than when you're training. And so without rest, you can actually work yourself to a point where it's actually counterproductive and you're hurting yourself more than you're helping yourself. So it's the same thing with business. What are the days of rest? What are the time off? When do we not work? And having clarity and wisdom on that is challenging. And then the final thing is having fun. Now, not saying every part of training for a marathon is fun, not saying everything of business is fun, but when we're doing something long enough over years and years of time and it's not fun anymore, well, then we need to adjust the plan. What are we going to do differently than we haven't done in the past? And sometimes there's a little bit more pain before you get to the fun, but what are we going to do to adjust the plan? Like running, if you're going with a plan, sometimes you just need to not time yourself, not track the mileage, and then just run every once in a while to have fun. And so anyway, just thinking about business, it should be fun too. And if we're not having fun for long amounts of time, we need to kind of relook at the plan and what we want out of this business. So those are 8 things: plan, obstacles, injury, adjust the plan, long days, accountability, pushing hard versus days of rest, and then having fun. Go out, make it a better than amazing day.